Hello everyone, my name is Vikas and this is another session from Tutorials Diary on the blockchain. In this session, we'll provide the answer to a question which most of people ask, when I can use blockchain. So people generally ask that, okay, I am aware about the blockchain, but do that really fit to my scenario or not, to my use case or not? So we'll provide the answer to that question in this video, and we'll try to explain you the flow chart which you can follow when you try to figure out that whether your use case can be done in the blockchain or not. So this is a post which I have written on this website as well, which you can just go and check. So this blog has all the detail which we'll cover in this video as well, the flow chart, where we have mentioned the steps which you can follow to determine that whether a blockchain is required or not, and then the example for each step. So same thing we'll discuss in this video. So in this video we'll discuss about this flow chart which we have for this blockchain, just to find out that whether your use case is meant for blockchain or not. So before you find out that whether you can use blockchain or not, you should be very much aware about blockchain. What is blockchain all about that, and what all you can do with the blockchain. So we already covered the introduction of blockchain in the another videos and the another sessions, which you can just go over and just see that one, the blockchain in the detail, because we will not cover that the same in this video. But blockchain at very high level, what it do, this will remove the centralization at very high level. So this is a world computer where people come and store the information, and they can exchange the information with each other without having some central party. So there are different kind of blockchain available right now, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Hyperledger, Coda, EOS, and each blockchain has its own purpose. Like Bitcoin is just for money purpose only. It is a cryptocurrency only. You can't do much with the Bitcoin. But Ethereum is extension to Bitcoin where you can do much more. But this is again an open blockchain where anyone can join and participate in the blockchain and make some transaction and read the data from blockchain. Then next thing is that Hyperledger, which is an enterprise blockchain where the parties are known to each other and they can transact with each other. They can create their own channels, or they can have an open channel for all the organization. So but before you jump to that conclusion that whether you have to use Bitcoin like Ethereum or Hyperledger or EOS or Coda or Cardano, first of all you have to understand that what business scenarios you have and whether the business scenario fit into the blockchain or not. So this diagram will help you to determine that. So let's go over this diagram step by step. So first of all, when you receive the requirement, the very first thing which you will ask, do you need to store the information somewhere? This is the first question comes. If your use case demand to store the information, then yes, you have to ask the next question. If no, if you don't want to store the information, if you don't have a requirement to store the information, then blockchain is not required. You can simply end your discussion here. Blockchain is not meant for you. So storage can be database, it can be your file system, it can be any other thing. So here the information can be anything, like the health information, your voting information, your land information. It can be any sort of information which you want to maintain and store to some repository. It can be database or file system. If that storage is required, you can go to a next step. Now the example to explain about this one in the real-time scenario, which I have explained in the blog also, is a health record. So when you visit to any hospital anywhere in the world, either you take the appointment over the phone or through online medium, or you simply visit the hospital, go to reception and fill the details, your name, your address, your health record, your blood group, and a doctor which you want to meet. So that kind of details hospitals store in their system. They might store in database or file system, because every hospital has their own storage which they use. So this is the one example. So this is a scenario, this is the storage point in the real-time scenario which may be fit for the blockchain. But this is the very first question. which you need to get clarified for the business scenario, business requirement. If storage is required, let's move to the next step, which is asking that this network, this business use case which you have, does that involve multiple parties? So what that mean actually? So whenever a business scenario come or a requirement comes, you have to ask this question. Let's take one example to understand it better. Let's take a hospital. A hospital can partnership with other hospital or the vendors or the other partners. Like one hospital can have a partnership with the other hospital in the same state or all over the country or outside the country. So that means a hospital is storing information and that hospital can share the information with other parties as well. And that same hospital can have a partnership with the vendors who provide the medicine equipment to the hospital. So in this network, in the hospital network, there are multiple parties involved. It is a hospital, it is an end user, it is a medical shops and the medical vendors and many more other parties as well. So if you have that kind of scenarios, then yes, you maybe require the blockchain. Okay, but if you don't have multiple parties involved, then you don't require a blockchain. Okay, so we have understand first 2 points. Let's move to third point. Third point says that you have to understand that okay, all the parties need to read and write the information to storage. In the first point, we have mentioned that yes, storage is required. We want to store the information to some storage. It can be DB or file system. So now the question comes that the parties which are involved in a network, do they need to access that information which is stored? Okay, if no, if they don't want to access the information, then we don't require a blockchain. But if yes, then certainly we can go to the next step and find out that whether blockchain is required or not. But just to understand this point, what that actually means in real time. So we'll take the same example about hospitals. When you go to the hospital, sometime what happened that you may not be able to find a doctor in the hospital during that time, or doctor is on leave, or doctor is not available for some time. So what happened that sometime hospital can refer you to some other hospital or their partner hospital. So okay, they tell you that okay, the doctor is not available right now in our hospital, but you can go to this hospital. So you will find a good doctor there. Now it is up to the patient whether he or she want to go to that referred hospital or not, or they go to their own hospital. But hospital can refer. Now when they refer, they will have some commission from a refer the hospital which they are referencing. Like they will get 10% share. Now, let's suppose a patient went to a hospital, he asked for a doctor, but doctor is not available. So the hospital 1 has referred patient to hospital 2. Okay, so now hospital 1 is expecting a 10% commission from hospital 2. But challenge here is that the patient has his own option. It's up to him or her whether he want to go to hospital 2, which is being referred by hospital 1, or a hospital 3, which they can choose from their side. Now, if patient don't go to hospital 2, then hospital 1 is not liable for any commission because patient does not want to go to hospital 2. They went to the hospital 3. So, how it is being maintained? So, what happens that hospital 1 will store the information, okay, I have referred this patient to the hospital 2. When the patient goes to hospital 2, they will confirm, yes, the patient came here and he has paid this much amount, so we will transfer you 10% of the amount. So this way, hospital 2 will also participating in the information which is stored. So they are also writing the information, they are reading the information, both hospital 1 and hospital 2. So this is a example which we have for this third step. When all the parties are involved in a network, they need to read and write the information in the storage, then certainly you may require a blockchain. Okay, so then the next question comes that when we determine that okay, yes, storage is required, we have multiple parties and multiple party has to access the information in the storage point. Then the next question comes that all the parties known to each other or not. Okay, if yes, I have marked it here yes and no. So if parties are not known to each other, then you can go to next step. But here, yes, it is mentioned that blockchain is not required. But what happened in some blockchain, like the example which I talk about, Hyperledger. In Hyperledgers, parties are mostly known to each other because they make a network with the parties who are known to each other. So this is kind of diagram mainly focusing on only on the open blockchain, public blockchain, where the parties are not known to each other. They people don't know each other. So this is mainly focusing on this one. But still, if you talk about Hyperledger, this is still applicable. It will not matter basically. In Hyperledger, parties are known to each other. In public blockchain, mostly parties are not known to each other. So once you've identified that one, then the last question comes that all the parties trust each other or not. If no, then certainly you need a blockchain. If the parties trust each other, then you don't require a blockchain, because blockchain, see, if you just try to understand the blockchain concept, blockchain only came into picture because companies or partners or vendors don't trust each other. In the current business scenarios, currently there are many vendors who are competing with each other, so they are not trusting each other basically. So just to build a trust, just to do transactions between the parties which don't trust each other, then blockchain is required. Blockchain play a middle role here, just to have a transaction between the parties which has no trust with each other. So this is how blockchain idea this is how you can see whether your use case is applicable for blockchain or not. This is a few certain very small steps which you can just see at high level. Now this is for blockchain, but again I just mentioned the starting of this video that there are different kind of blockchain. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Coda, EOS, Cardano, Hyperledger. Every blockchain has their own use case. Okay, so some of these steps may be applicable to one blockchain, some are applicable to another blockchain, like the Hyperledger. As I mentioned before, Hyperledger parties are known to each other, but in Ethereum, this is an open blockchain, so parties are not known to each other. So this is just at high level, just explain you that when you can use a blockchain, in which business scenario you can use a blockchain, and how you can check when the blockchain can be used. So I'm hopeful that this will help you a bit to understand about when to use a blockchain in the real time when you have some requirement. Thanks for watching.